The courtroom smelled of polished wood and cold authority. Marcus Williams, a single father in his late 30s, sat on the worn bench, shoulders slumped but dignity intact. His worn jacket barely shielded him from the chill, and his hands trembled, not from fear, but from years of carrying burdens alone. Today, he faced the judge at Oak Ridge County Courthouse, a man notorious for his ruthless sentences and sharp contempt for anyone who didn't fit his narrow idea of success. Marcus's case wasn't complicated. A custody hearing for his 9-year-old son, Elijah. The mother, a woman blinded by resentment and anger, had painted him as incapable. A man too struggling, too tired, too poor to care for a child. And the judge, Judge Thompson, a 60-year-old white man with icy blue eyes and a surgical precision for humiliation, seemed eager to humiliate Marcus rather than weigh the truth. The bailiff called his name. Marcus rose slowly, gripping his briefcase. Each step echoed through the cavernous courtroom. He felt the eyes of the spectators, mostly strangers, many indifferent, pressing down on him. But Marcus carried a quiet fire in his chest. He loved his son fiercely and would not bend, no matter how heavy the authorities' hand. "Mr. Williams," Judge Thompson began, voice dripping with condescension, "you claim you are fit to care for your child, yet you show up with tattered clothing, unprepared, and late on your filings. Are you aware this court does not tolerate negligence?" Marcus swallowed hard. "Your Honor, I've worked 2 jobs. I've cared for Elijah alone since he was born, and I've done my best to meet every requirement the court has asked of me." "Spare me your excuses," Thompson barked, slamming a gavel for emphasis. The sound reverberated like a warning. "Many fathers claim to care. Few actually do. I may very well deny your request and place the child with someone more suitable." Marcus felt the weight of judgment settle over him like a storm cloud. He had expected skepticism. He had expected prejudice. But the coldness in the judge's eyes burned a deeper pain. The implicit message that a black man, struggling but upright, was automatically deemed inferior. Outside the courtroom, Marcus wondered how he could fight a system designed to see him fail. He knew the law might bend toward fairness, but it was clear today that fairness would need a weapon. Something the judge hadn't anticipated. Something personal, undeniable, and impossible to dismiss. The courtroom air grew thick as Thompson's contempt escalated. "Mr. Williams," he said, leaning forward, eyes narrowing, "you need to understand your position here. This court doesn't have the patience for men who merely try. Actions matter. And from what I see, your actions are lacking." Marcus felt a familiar rage stir, the one he buried daily to survive the world outside. He had kept Elijah fed, clothed, educated, and safe, often sacrificing sleep, meals, and personal dignity. And yet, a man who had never struggled in his life judged him as if struggle itself were a crime. As the judge read through the custody file, Marcus noticed subtle smirks from the mother's attorney, a silent chorus of judgment. Every misstep in Marcus's past, late bills, missed deadlines, was cataloged and weaponized. Every triumph, every act of care was ignored. "You will provide a detailed schedule of your work hours, your financials, your home environment, and references from your community. And I warn you, failure to satisfy even one requirement could result in the immediate transfer of custody." Thompson threatened, his voice low but poisonous. Marcus's jaw clenched. He knew he had no choice but to comply. But there was something he held in his pocket, something Judge Thompson had never asked for, something he had been saving for a moment like this. It was small, simple, yet powerful. A letter written years earlier, from a man who had seen Marcus's life from the outside, who knew his integrity and heart. The tension in the courtroom was suffocating. Marcus returned to his seat, pretending calm, while inside he felt the tide turning. Not yet visible, but inevitable. Marcus had found the letter years ago, tucked inside an old journal he kept for Elijah. It was from Reverend Samuel Carter, a local pastor who had watched Marcus raise his son after the mother abandoned him during a dark period of illness. The Reverend's words had been prophetic, a recognition of Marcus's perseverance, love, an unwavering commitment to his child. Marcus, the letter began, I have watched you face obstacles most men would crumble under. Your dedication to Elijah, your honesty, and your strength shine brighter than any gold or title. Do not let the world diminish your worth. One day, those who doubt you will see the truth that is clear to all who truly know you. Now, in the courtroom, Marcus knew that day had arrived. He quietly handed the folded letter to his attorney. Whispering, he said, If the judge wants proof of my worth, this is all he needs to read. The attorney, understanding instantly, handed it to Thompson. The judge took the envelope, curious but dismissive. But as he read, his icy expression faltered. The words were not just praise. They were testimony, signed and verifiable, from a man of respect in the community. A murmur passed through the courtroom. The Reverend's credibility carried weight Thompson could not ignore. The judge, who had thrived on belittling Marcus, suddenly faced something unassailable, a truth he could not twist. The room felt heavier, charged with a new energy. Thompson's voice, once sharp and commanding, wavered. This letter, he muttered, scanning the page again. It is thorough, and the testimony is compelling. Marcus sat quietly, letting the power of the words work. For the first time, he saw uncertainty creep into the judge's eyes, the first crack in an otherwise impenetrable facade. The mother's attorney stiffened. The carefully constructed narrative of Marcus's inadequacy was crumbling. Thompson cleared his throat, adjusting his glasses as if the act could restore control. Very well, I will consider this evidence seriously. The court appreciates community input. The words were measured, cautious, but the shift was unmistakable. The underdog, once deemed powerless, now held leverage the judge could not dismiss. Marcus exhaled silently. The tension of years, the fear of losing his son, the constant grind of proving himself against systemic bias. It all funneled into this single moment. Justice, slow and deliberate, had finally arrived. Weeks later, Marcus returned to the courtroom for the final ruling. This time, he was calmer, steadier. Elijah's bright eyes met his father's from the audience seats, a silent bond of trust and love. Thompson, the man who had threatened, belittled, and underestimated him, read the decision. After careful review of the evidence and testimonies, including the letter from Reverend Carter, Thompson began, his voice lacking its previous venom. The court finds that Mr. Marcus Williams is fully capable of providing a safe, stable, and nurturing environment for his child. Custody shall remain with Mr. Williams. A collective sigh swept through the room. Marcus felt tears sting his eyes. Elijah ran into his arms, hugging him tight. The courtroom, which had been a place of judgment and dread, now became a stage for vindication. The judge, silent, glanced at the letter one last time before setting it aside. For all his authority, he had been forced to acknowledge the undeniable truth. Marcus's worth could not be measured by prejudice or circumstance. Outside the courthouse, the sun broke through the clouds. Marcus held Elijah's hand, walking into a world that, for the first time in years, seemed fair. He had faced a powerful man who tried to diminish him, a system that doubted him, and a society eager to underestimate him. Yet, through perseverance, integrity, and the support of those who truly saw him, he had prevailed. The letter had done more than sway a judge. It had reminded the world, and himself, that character and love cannot be erased by status or bias. Marcus's victory was quiet, uncelebrated by headlines, but profound in its truth. Those who endure, who fight with dignity, will see justice, sometimes in ways the world least expects. Elijah skipped ahead, laughing, and Marcus allowed himself a small smile. Life had tested him, tried to break him, but he had emerged stronger. And he knew that, no matter what came next, no one could ever take that victory away. Life lesson: power does not always belong to the loudest or the richest. True strength is patience, love, and unwavering integrity. And when you fight for what matters, even the most unlikely victories are possible. If this story sent shivers down your spine, imagine the other tales we uncover. Real struggles, real victories, and moments that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Hit that subscribe button now, turn on notifications, and join us for more chilling stories of the underdog rising, injustice exposed, and the unexpected twists that leave the powerful trembling. You won't want to miss what comes next.